Continuing the discussion on MLA Handbook 9th edition, we are continuing from chapter 5, subchapter 5.23. Title of source and what it is. What is the title of the source in a text that we refer? So, in the title of the source element, it's a list of the work you are citing. So, element that demands you to cite the title of the work. That's what you mean by title of the source. In the example, you can see the example here. Apostol, comma gainer. So means that's the name of the writer, and you can see a title in italics, given in italics. That means it's a title of a novel by this author. So what shall we do? What should we do while citing the title of the source? We have to provide a concise but informative description as per the methodology or the technical details. Like if it is the name of a text length publication, it should be in italics. If it is an article, it's the title of an article, it should be in double quotes. If it is a title of a poem, then also it should be in double quotes. So that's a technical side. But before that, we have to identify. Before all this, we have to identify the title of the source. There, we have to have a clear-cut idea about what it is. So there should be an informative description. And now we can see a lot of examples here as given in the text. And immediately we can identify the title of the source by looking at the italicized part from that. Most often, a text length publication, we can see not most often, always it should be in italics. Otherwise, it should be in double quotes. Anyway, there is an identification point, or we can have an identifying point with any of these punctuation marks. So, certain text that cover pages are given for easy identification and thus easy understanding in this text itself. Sometimes we come across some sources, some details that are very helpful for our citation, but sometimes without even having a title, proper title. Then we have to describe it. Anyway, we cannot do without it because it's something really helpful or really somewhere matching with our point of view or whatever we want to describe, whatever we want to substantiate. There you cannot avoid that particular resource just because of it's not having a particular title, a proper title. So sometimes it can be a tweet containing a photograph of a letter. In the title of source element, we can just give a description, provide a description of the photograph, whatever is available. From there we can collect the details that we want to. Okay, this is just a photograph. And we don't know whether this is a proper citation or whether it's an true, authentic source. Still, you would like to make use of that idea. In this case, the description might also include other pertinent information, such as the recipient of a letter. At least the recipient of a letter can be seen. Or the type of message, what it is. Is it a tweet? Or a tweet from the photograph, a photograph from the tweet? Or location of a performance, somewhere featured in a program. And the name of the work and author that are subject of a review, somewhere they form part of a review, not something directly, somewhere they are not directly part of a characterization as part of a novel, drama or something. And the artist whose exhibit is introduced in a museum, wall text. In some cases, the description may include the title of another work. So these are rare cases. So we don't have to keep it always in mind, but whenever this kind of a situation comes, we have to know what to do. instead of avoiding that particular resource just for the sake, just for the reason that this is not really easy. It's not a conventional style of a resource, conventional type of resource. We should not stay away from making use of it, because I told you it's somewhere it finds so helpful, so matching with our point of arguments. So these are some examples where such cases can be noted down. Somewhere something from the library, museum, Arthur Miller's The Crucible at the Walter Kerr Theatre. So here, program for Arthur Miller's The Crucible at the Walter Kerr Theatre. So that can be a program. But here you have reference to another title, another text itself, where you have to make it in give it in italics itself, because Arthur Miller's work. Somewhere reviews are there, reviews can be there. So somewhere it can be a poem, recitation, any kind of resource can be used, not just conventional type of printed resources. So that's the flexibility of the time. Nowadays it's more flexible, it has become more flexible. You can be more inclusive. So there is a provision for this, and just because we don't have a proper conventional citation method, or it doesn't match with the conventional citation methods, we should not avoid the resource. That's why MLA handbook gives all this in detail. The methods are given in detail. So now we can be more confident to take or make use of such resources. Then a review. It's an example of a review, where in your entry list name the name of the reviewer in the author element. That can be done. So reviewed by, some person's name is located, is there, given there. Provide a description that includes the title of the reviewed book and its author. So definitely reviewing is one creative activity. So that person can be acknowledged. So if you are documenting a communication you received, pertinent information includes a reference to yourself as author. Somewhere a letter comes to you, and the content of the letter you would like to make use of. You would like to give it as somewhere it forms part of your experience, your own learning, and somewhere it forms part of your research topic, research question. You get a solution, you get an additional point out of it. So, whom shall you give as the author element? The author element should be marked. There you can mention yourself as the author, or by the title, named in the title of source element. Email to the author, name of the person who received it, and then okay, it's an email that came to this person. So email to the author on which date. So very simple. We cannot always access all the elements that are necessary for a conventional kind of work citation listing. So in the conventional style, we know how it goes in the order: author's name, in the reversal order. That can be done here as well. And title of the source, publisher's name, year of publication, all these details, all these elements can be collected from somewhere in the case of any writings, any kind of resource. That's what we come to know here, come to find here. And in some cases, using text from the work itself is the clearest way to identify an untitled work. Somewhere we come across some untitled work. It's a very common feature, common situation now. Say, for example, some untitled poems. Somewhere we come across some status. Somewhere some social media posts. Somewhere shared among friends and all. But some of their lines, some of those chords catch your eyes, and somewhere you can relate with your topic again. You would like to quote it, but you don't know the proper resource, proper source of that. Somewhere it finds untitled, it is found untitled. Then you can conventionally, it can be identified by the first line. And digital messages that lack formal titles. Some most often digital messages, they lack formal titles like tweets, emails, texts, some of the cards. And when a digital message or social media post consists entirely of a photograph or video, provide a description for the title. Somewhere something shall be there. Some description at least shall be there. So you can definitely provide that description. The place of text from the post itself. See, some of the examples are given here. And just think about these sites. Very commonly we come across these sites. Somewhere we find, sometimes we search Poetry Foundation, Snapchat, or any other Pinterest. All these sites we access here and now. And it's easy that you mark down, you note down all these points. So most of the resources we can cite very easily with all its due preference to methodological steps. So there is no other restrictions or anything, as it is not a conventional printed resource. No longer that restriction is there. It's not at all there, and we can add anything and everything that comes on our path during our research time. So now to chapter number 24 of main chapter 5, subchapter 24, title of source. Where to find it? Where to find it? The title is usually prominently displayed in the work. That's first. That's what we have to understand first. So most often it's prominently displayed. Means in larger fonts, and most often it's near the author's name itself. Identifying that is very important. So title of the source. Title of the source most often given near the author's name, and most often prominently displayed as well. You can see it's a picture of a text, its cover page, and you can see how prominently it's marked here. It's in it's very large font, and it's easy for us to identify Kiss of the Spider Woman by Manuel Pugh. So here another example, the title of a book. The title is prominently displayed near the author's name. Title of source, the figure in the carpet. The figure in the carpet. And theories and methodologies. It can be taken as a subtitle or an additional description. But here, definitely, we can identify the title of the source. Sometimes it's a part of the first page of a journal article. The title is located above the author's names. Journal article, and you can see it's there displayed located above the author's name. Then another example, title of the source easily identifiable, and author element also is given there. Another example, a digitized image of a painting published on a website. And again the artist name you can see, and it's near the title of the source you can see the artist name. Both are always, most often these two come together, stay together. Okay. Then another example, a post on a website, title of the post is displayed above the author's name. So this to show that example, most often you can expect these two elements as adjacently placed. Another important thing to be noted down also, some works have subtitles. Some titles, a major after this major title, main title, you can come across a subtitle as well. And it's rendered less prominently, means okay, can see the difference between the font, the size of the fonts. So here it's in larger font, comparatively it's larger font, and then you can definitely find the difference between this main title and the subtitle. And typically we uh, mark down, or typically we mention it by a colon, separate it with a colon in the case of citation, but sometimes a dash also can be used. Okay. And title and the subtitle are distinguished from each other by different typefaces, even different typefaces. Sometimes the font style also can be different. Yeah, definitely you can see here. So font style also is different. Font size as well. They have kept it clear with these two uh, differentiations. Now, another one. Subtitle say Geraldine Lawless, Unknown Futures, 19th Century Science Fiction in Spain. So unknown features. That's a title, and then you can see the subtitle as 19th century. It's marked by colon. 19th century science fiction in Spain. Part of the first page of a journal article. So this is our title source then. In that case, this is our source. Journal article and subtitle follows the title and is separated from it by a colon. So colon is already given, so you can avoid maximum confusion. An online news article, another example. If the design of a work makes distinguishing the title and subtitle difficult, corroborate the title by checking another authoritative location in the work, such as the copyright page. So, at the first site, from the cow page, it's not really clear which is the title and which is the subtitle, or whether this is completely the main title. As it's in larger font, same font size, and same font style, somewhere you may be confused. Then what shall we do? So there is another part that is more authoritative, which can be the copyright page of the resource. And there everything can be found very clearly well, and that can be the second option if you cannot find out the proper details or clarification from the title page of the resource that you mention or access. So here, if the title of a web page and the title of the site appears are hard to distinguish, look for cues in the relative prominence of the title, the design and layout, and the URL. At least the URL will give you details. Subtitle: The American Encounter with the World since 1776. And the title: Promised Land, Crusader State. So you are confused somewhere. Some may be confused, but here, as the author's name is given in this way, it's likely we can avoid the confusion. But if you're more very particular about having a thorough rechecking, definitely some other points such as at least the URL, layout, prominence of the title, and the design can help you out. Okay, at least this is the possibility. This is in larger font. Comparing, if you compare it with the other part, so definitely we can avoid the confusion from the cover page itself. See URL, you can see it in the site web searching area. Searching the where we search for that, or once the site becomes up and once we are directed to a particular site, this URL can be found at the top. And there is another example page on the website, the title of the site, Fashion Era, and the title of the page, Regency Fashion. Title of the site is Fashion Era, where title of the page is Regency Fashion. And 1800 costume history, actually it's a subtitle, because it's, as it is not distinguished with a colon while citing the resource, it's our duty, the researcher's duty, to put a colon there once you identify it as a subtitle. Okay, the title of the page appears near the author's name. So this is the title of the site, but here definitely you can find out the author's name along with that. By Pauline Weston. So that's an additional information. Title of the page appears near the author's name and is rendered in the text, whereas the title of the site matches the URL and is displayed as a logo. Here it's displayed as a logo, but here also we can find out the title of that particular page. So all these are very clear in such sites. Somewhere, some sites may be more confusing, and there also you can find out the details with the URL and other such design and related other technical details. So that's all with that chapter, and that's all with that session. Thank you so much. And next chapter we will be discussing chapter number 5.25 25. That's title of the source and how to style it. With more technical details, we will move to more technical details of this session. Thank you so much for listening.